Last weekend, the People's Democratic Party wrapped up its special national convention in Abuja, at the end of which a former vice president of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, emerged as the presidential candidate. His emergence has again brought to the fore the question of just how much energy the party has expended in its bid to reconnect with the Nigerian people ahead of crucial elections in 2023. Is Atiku the best deal for Nigeria presently or for the party? How electable is he at the moment? Why did the People's Democratic Party willfully break the deal on the zoning of presidential candidates between the North and the South? In the meantime, it has emerged that the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party will on Monday meet with the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar over the selection of his running mate. Well, joining us now to expand the conversation on the general state of affairs in the PDP as the election season beckons is solicitor, chartered arbitrator, and author Augustine Mamedu. Mr. Mamedu, thank you very much for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday Talk Show. Are you with me?
Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Abati.
Yes, thank you.
I'm with you, Dr. Abati. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. You are welcome. Very quickly. What are your thoughts on the fact that the PDP has a presidential candidate from the North, and that the South-South, the Southeast, the South, that thought that the candidate will come from the southern part of the country, many of the persons from the South are aggrieved. Although former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said that his number one priority is to ensure unity within the party and unity in the country if he's given the chance to become president. And he has tried to visit some of the top contenders for that ticket of the PDP. But generally, what are your thoughts before we begin to look at the associated issues?
Yeah, I agree with you completely that there were high expectations that the unwritten convention of rotating power between the northern segment of the country and the southern part of the country will be respected by all parties. Why has it only become an issue now that it's not unconstitutional only when it was the turn of the southern part of Nigeria? But be it as it may, it's a sign of growth and development and maturity of a people that we should no longer look at ethnic backgrounds. We should no longer look at geopolitical zones and where Mr. A or Mr. B comes from. Rather, we should look at performance, ability, capacity to deliver. The state of Nigeria today calls for, if we can find anybody from even the moon to come and fix it. If anybody from the moon fixes it, I'm happy. I don't care whether it comes from Adamawa, or it comes from Sokoto, or it comes from Edo State, or it comes from Lagos. But the fact that we had a zoning arrangement is best proven by the fact that even Atiku will not now go to search for a vice president in Tambuwal of Sokoto State, from Katsina State, or from Taraba State. He is rather looking at the South, meaning we have this conviction in us that in order to be fair, we should have inclusiveness across the board. Otherwise, you can also say it's unconstitutional for Atiku to go to look for vice president from the South, because it's not written in the Constitution that he should not take his vice presidential candidate from his home state. But it is only merit and fairness that required that the South is where the presidential candidate should have come from at this time. That has not been done, yet my position is that we have to take it as it is, we have to deal with it as it is, and a proper vice presidential candidate will be in a position to ameliorate whatever injuries these have caused. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure that you are aware of the objection by some leaders from the South and the Middle Belt who claim that, look, the South must produce the presidential standard bearer. Now, that has not happened in the PDP. Some of those leaders have now gone further to say that no Southerner in the PDP or in any part of the South should accept to play the role of a second fiddle to a northern presidential candidate. Do you think that anybody will listen to that? Or we should just accept the situation as it is in the PDP, as it were? You never know what will happen with the APC presidential convention at the end of the day. Should anybody be persuaded by the position of those, ethno-social political leaders who say, no, don't take a second position? So in other words, Vice President Atiku, as he then was, could go and take his running mate from maybe Northwest or from North Central. Do you think that that is possible?
No. The fact that that is not possible was proven even at the convention of the PDP, in the sense that where were the delegates from the South when Atiku was cutting away 300 and something votes? The delegates from the South, from the Middle Belt, some from the East, Anambra State, Imo State, Abia State, they all had delegates. They did not vote for Ohambua, who was from their zone. If they wanted a Southern presidential candidate, we should see block votes. But no, Atiku received votes from all of these states, be it from the Middle Belt, from the South. So that's a proof that what is being canvassed by the Southern and Middle Belt Forum is not going to work, in my view. It's not going to work. We should rather focus more deeply on capacity, on competence, and on records of performance.
Okay, the Board of Trustees of the party is, meeting tomorrow with, we're told, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to discuss the issue of where his running mate should come from. Should the party dictate to him who his running mate should be? After all, he's the one who is going to work with that running mate. Shouldn't he be given the free hand? And shouldn't persons be given the free hand, whether they are governors or they are presidential standard bearers, to choose their own running mates?
The involvement of the political party is key. It's not a dictatorial issue to suggest to a presidential candidate that you should pick your running mate from this part of the country. The reason is simple, that the parameters you are measuring, what you are putting on your scale to determine where your vice presidential candidate should come from or your running mate may not be wholesome. And so let the party contribute to advising the candidate where he should choose his vice presidential candidate from. He should listen to everybody, including the political party and including all stakeholders.
Okay, I believe you know the personality of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. What kind of person will you think will be best suited to run with him as the PDP tries to reposition itself and return to power? What kind of running mate should he be looking for?
Yeah, I will say straight away that we need somebody who has a background in finance, a background in financial services. The reason I say this is everybody is presently experiencing in Nigeria spiraling inflation, fluctuations in exchange rate, fluctuating upwards and upwards every day, that the cry is out there. If we're not careful, the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar, for example, could hit 1,000 naira at some stage. Udom Emmanuel, governor of Akwa Ibom State, he holds a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting. He's a chartered accountant. He's schooled in the London School of Economics. He's an alumni of INSEAD in France. He worked with PwC, that's PricewaterhouseCoopers, and left as an executive director of Zenith Bank. With this background, I believe strongly that he is in a position to deal with the spiraling inflation we experience presently in Nigeria. You go to the market today, some good cost 10 naira. You go there the next day, the very next day, it's 12 naira. Well, what are the economic policies that can be put on ground immediately to deal with this? This, I think, Udom Emmanuel is well suited. And he's somebody who has been tested, tried and tested in the last 7+ years now in Akwa Ibom State as a governor. He set out with a 5-point agenda in 2015 to create jobs, to provide infrastructure, economic inclusion to his people, wealth creation, and to alleviate poverty. And all of this is scored, if you ask me, near 100%, in the sense that as of today, there are hundreds, and I mean the word hundreds, of industries established, providing jobs for citizens of Akwa Ibom State, from coconut factories to palm kernel oil, to palm oil, to rice mills, flour mills, toothpicks, production of syringes, paint, ceramics, the Ibom deep sea port we've all heard of. We know of timber and plywood, and the one everybody sees, Ibom Air. And when you arrive at Akano Ibiam International Airport, you feel at home.
Wait a moment, Mr. Mamedu. I mean, you just jumped from my question to marketing, your own recommendation. I find that quite interesting. But, I mean, I know that Udom Emmanuel scored 38 votes, right? He wasn't one of those persons who got 0 votes at the convention of the party. Yes. But other names have been mentioned. We have had the name of Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, the governor of Delta State. Nyesom Wike, governor of Rivers State, has been mentioned. Some people have said Donald Duke is a likely candidate. Some people have said Governor Obaseki could also make a possible vice presidential running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So if it comes to a competition, with this short list, what edge do you think that Udom Emmanuel has? What is that special thing beyond having worked in a bank that is going to bring to the table?
Great. Like I mentioned earlier, experiencing a flight on Ibom Air, none of these candidates you mentioned are able to fly into their own states, be it Asaba, in Benin, in Edo State, with a state-owned airline. Whilst the federal government was struggling, trying to resuscitate Nigeria Airways, Udom Emmanuel went ahead, and as we are all flying Ibom Air, there's 0 strikes in Akwa Ibom State since 8 years, 7 years plus he's been there. There's 0 pension owed, 0 gratuity is owed to workers. He has implemented 30,000 naira minimum wage. I don't know any of these state governors where this is happening. So that is the hedge I think he has. And your own colleagues in the print media, the Independent newspaper, for example, awarded him the best governor on industrialization. A Leadership newspaper in 2016 awarded to Udom Emmanuel Governor of the Year. He was also Governor of the Year in 2018. He is a state. Even the federal government of Nigeria awarded Udom Emmanuel as the state with the best infrastructure in the entire country. The best sports infrastructure in the entire country. And that is recognized internationally, that the sports stadium at Uyo is where Nigerian Eagles always have victory in that stadium. They always have success in that stadium. The sportsmen and women of Akwa Ibom State are also acknowledged and awarded by the federal government of Nigeria as the most patriotic sports fan in the entire country. That's out of 36 states. For all these and many more, I will say Udom Emmanuel has an edge over all other persons running to become the vice president of Nigeria. He will be the chairman of the National Economic Council. What economic advantages, what economic background, what financial management background do these other candidates have that Udom Emmanuel will not beat? He's worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers, as I mentioned, left as an executive director of Zenith Bank. He has the training, he has the experience, and he has walked the talk. He has delivered, he has hundreds of factories, schools, in education, in health services, mention it. We have things on ground to show for it. When you fly in, you see it. It's not, I have been there and I have seen them. You start to see the rice farms whilst you are still airborne, trying to land in Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. It's what I have seen with my own eyes. I've touched some of them.
Okay, let me ask you, is this your own idea, campaigning for him? Or is there something I'm missing out? Is he interested? Because it's one thing for you to say, this is what I think. And it's another thing for Udom Emmanuel himself to be interested. Suppose he has different plans, and here you are, promoting him, saying that he will be a good vice president. Even when we have been told, in the last 48, 72 hours, that a vice president is just a spare tire. Is he not better off returning to his banking instead of saying he wants to go and be a spare tire in Abuja?
Udom Emmanuel, I know, will not be a spare tire. We've had situations in this country where the vice president was very effective. Though in the military era, we all remember Tunde Idiagbon. It was very efficient and very effective. Under the Nigerian's 1999 constitution, the vice president, as I mentioned, is the chairman of the National Economic Council. That's a very powerful body that will set the economic indices for this country, which we badly need at this stage. We badly need it now. We cannot go to our markets anymore and come out with everything we want to purchase. I think Udom Emmanuel is in a position to deal with all of this. And he has, I'm not saying I think, I'm saying I know, because I have seen a lot of Nigerians have flown Ibom Air. It's not in doubt. It's not what I think is on ground. A lot of Nigerians have watched television games from the Uyo Stadium. It's not what I think, it's what is on ground that Udom Emmanuel has efficiently managed. There is not one Nigerian of Akwa Ibom State origin who is owed salaries in the last 7 years. There is no one ex-worker who is owed pension in the last 7 years. There is nobody who is owed gratuity in Akwa Ibom State in the last 7 years. These are performances, and what is done is that you should now replicate them. Project management cycle. You plan the project, you implement the program, and you do monitoring and evaluation. And then you replicate. Having done it in Akwa Ibom State, we want Udom Emmanuel to now replicate it or roll out these successful programs he has undertaken in Akwa Ibom State, roll them out across the 36 states of Nigeria. That is international best practice. That's the way it's done even with the United Nations. They pick focal states. So let us now imagine that Akwa Ibom was a focal state. Go to that state and look at all the infrastructure built by state government. Roads, bridges, hundreds of kilometers of roads and bridges. Schools, payment of school fees for school children for WAEC. In the last 7+ years, Udom Emmanuel has paid every year over 600 million naira as school fees, examination fees, WAEC and NECO for students of Akwa Ibom State origin. If he is able to replicate these things, it means, for example, that ASU will not be on strike because he has so taken care of his people, his workers, that nobody is on strike in Akwa Ibom State, whereas ASU is on strike in Nigeria. He has an airline. Nigeria doesn't have an airline. So let him come and replicate Ibom Air for Nigeria. Not that it will be named Ibom Air, but I'm sure we'll be able to resuscitate a national carrier. Thank you.
Okay, I cannot argue with you over, what your preference is going forward. But let me ask you 2 basic questions. In the event that Governor Udom Emmanuel does not emerge as running mate, he tried to be presidential standard bearer. He didn't succeed. If he's not the person that Atiku Abubakar is looking at, or that the party is considering, will he still work for the party?
I would say it should work for Nigeria, not as a party official, but as maybe a minister of government, a minister of finance, or minister of... that's his choice, really, not me to suggest. I'm only saying that the background of this governor is well suited to him being a vice president for the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria, not to be pigeonholed into one ministry. Because across industrialization, education, health, aviation, he has delivered in his state. Okay. And we are in a stage now, as I said at the introduction, that we should be looking at performance indicators. Performance indicators for Udom Emmanuel are all up in the 90%. Well, thank you.
Augustine Mamedu, I think I would like to thank you very much at this point. I didn't expect that this will end up, as a conversation around Udom Emmanuel becoming running mate or becoming a minister if he doesn't make it as a running mate. But you're entitled to your views. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday Talk Show.